Hi everybody, come back. Today we are going to discuss the symmetry of wave functions. So we consider a two-particle system, a simple system which is described by the wave function psi of 1, 2. So we have two particles. Now in quantum region, we know the particles are indistinguishable. The particles, identical particles which are indistinguishable. To state this in a mathematical way, in a more formal mathematical way, we introduce a permutation operator P12, okay, which when acting on a state interchanges all coordinates of particles 1 and 2. So if this permutation operator acts on a wave function, it interchanges coordinates of particles 1 and 2. It simply interchanges the two particles. Okay. So when P12 acts on psi12, I will get psi21. Okay. So this is the wave function, the state one obtains when we interchange the particles. Now if the identical particles are indistinguishable, okay, in the quantum region the particles are indistinguishable, so the interchange should not produce any observable effect. There should not be any change, okay, it should not produce any observable effect, okay. So this would be so, or this there will be no change if the wave function changes. The wave function from psi12 to psi21 changes at most by a phase factor. Okay, the change is at most by a phase factor eta, which leaves the psi conjugate psi unchanged. So there will be no change in the psi conjugate psi. Okay, so the psi conjugate 1 2 psi 1 2, that will be equal to psi conjugate 2 1 psi 2 1. So that is, there is no change in the state. Or we can say the P12 psi 12, when P12 this operator acts on psi 12, we get psi 21, which is basically what, e to the power I eta. This is the phase factor, eta is the phase factor. So E I eta psi 12. Okay, so P12 psi 12, it is equal to what? E I theta I eta psi 12. Okay, so the change is by a small phase factor. Now if the interchange is repeated, okay, if the interchange is repeated, the original wave function must be obtained. That is, we are applying this operator 2 times. Okay, P12 into P12. Okay, this operator is acting on this wave function 2 times. So first time when it acts, you will get psi21. Okay, P12 psi12 is psi21. So again P12 is acting, so we should get back psi12. Okay, now as we said earlier, since this is a kind of indistinguishable particles, P12 psi12 is Ei eta psi12. Okay, so like that I can write psi21 as Ei eta psi12, and again this P12 is acting on this. Okay, so I will get again an Ei eta. So there will be 2 I eta, I eta into E I eta. So e to the power 2 I eta psi12. So P12 square, actually the operator is acting 2 times on this wave function, that is e to the power 2 I eta psi12. Okay, so psi12, okay, when we compare these two, psi12 is actually equal to what? 2I eta psi 1 2. Okay, here I got psi 1 2. Here I am getting e to the power 2I eta psi 1 2. So psi 1 2 is equal to 2 e to the power 2I eta psi 1 2. So this has to be 1. Okay, e to the power 2I eta is 1. For that, ei eta is either plus 1 or minus 1. Okay, ei eta is either plus 1 or minus 1. Then its square, e to the power 2I eta, will be 1. Okay, so from this equation, ei eta can be plus 1 or minus 1. If it is plus 1, we have psi 21 equal to psi 1 2. And if it is minus 1, we have psi 21 equal to minus psi 1 2. Okay, or we can write it in this fashion also, psi 1 2 equal to psi 21. Okay, and psi 1 2 equal to minus psi 21. If we are writing in this fashion, it is called symmetric, and if it is in this fashion, it is called anti-symmetric. So we have symmetric and anti-symmetric wave functions like this. Now it is a law of nature that symmetry or anti-symmetry, okay, symmetry or anti-symmetry under the interchange of the two particles is a property of the particle themselves. Okay, it's a property of the particles. Okay, and Pauli first stated his law. This law has identical particles having integral spin 0, 1h cut, 2h cut. They are described by symmetric wave functions. Okay, these are the symmetric wave function. So they are described by symmetric wave functions, and system consisting of identical particles of half-mode integral spins. Okay, half h cut, 3 by 2 h cut, 5 by 2 h cut. They are described by antisymmetric wave functions. Okay, and the first type of particles are called bosons, and they obey Bose-Einstein statistics. And the second type of particles are called fermions, and they obey Fermi-Dirac statistics. Examples for bosons are photon, pi meson, helium-4 atom, etc. And for fermions, we have electron, neutrino, proton, helium-3 atom, etc. Okay, so the wave function can be symmetric and antisymmetric, and the particles having integral spins, they are described by symmetric wave functions, and particles having half-mode integral spins, they are described by antisymmetric wave functions. Okay. Now for a two-particle system, the wave function for classical case is this. The particles are distinguishable. So the wave function psi 1 2 is simply the product of the wave function psi a1 and psi b2. Okay. Now from this, actually here we have two possibilities. Two possibilities are psi a1, psi b2, and then psi a2, psi b1. If you interchange the particle, if you interchange the particle, we will have psi a2, psi b1. Now we define a symmetric wave function out of these two possibilities using this 1 by root 2. Okay, this 2 is the number of distribution possible. So 1 by root 2 psi a1 psi b2 plus psi a2 psi b1. Okay, and this wave function, this is actually symmetric, because if you interchange the particles, if you take psi of 2 1, okay, psi of 2 1, so here you will have 2, and here 1, here 1, here 2, and that is same as psi of 1 2. So this is a symmetric wave function. Okay, so for Bose-Einstein statistics, the symmetric wave function, it is written like this. And for Fermi-Dirac statistics, the wave function is written like this: 1 by root 2 psi a1 psi b2 minus psi a2 psi b1, which is actually minus of psi 21, minus of psi 21, because if you take psi of 21, okay, psi of 21, we have to put 2 here and 1 here, 1 here, 2 here. So that will be actually minus of psi a 1 2, okay, or psi f 21 will be psi f 21. If we interchange the particle, that will be equal to minus of psi a 1 2. So we say this is antisymmetric, and this can be also written in this form: 1 by root 2 psi a1 psi a2 psi b1 psi b2. This is a determinant. Okay, this is called Slater determinant. See, it is written like this: psi a1 psi a2 a same, psi b1 psi b2. Okay, and this 1 by root 2 is the normalization factor. Actually, this 2 comes from the 2 number of distributions possible, fundamental distribution possible for the system classically: psi a1 psi b2, then psi a2 psi b1. So from that we form these symmetric and antisymmetric wave functions. Okay, now the two fermions cannot be in the same state. If the two fermions are in the same state, we will have psi a1 psi a2. This also will be psi a1 psi a2. Okay, the two rows will be same, and if it is same, this will vanish. Okay, here also, if we take psi a1 here, psi a and instead of b, psi a2, because both the particles are in the same state. This also will be psi a2 psi a1, so this will be 0. Okay, so if the two particles are in the same state, its wave function, the antisymmetric wave function, will be 0. But no such problem arises in this Bose-Einstein case, in this symmetric wave function. If both the particles are in the same state, this will not be 0. Okay, this will not be 0. Psi a1 psi a2 psi a2 psi a1, so that is not equal to 0. But this one will be 0 if both the particles are in the same state. Okay, so this is a very important result for the fermions which obey or which have the antisymmetric wave function. It vanishes when the two particles are in the same state. Now, instead of two particles, we are considering a system of n particles, capital N particles. And classically, you write the wave function psi of 1 to 1 comma 2 comma n as psi a1 psi b2 psi z of n product, and there will be n factorial possible ones or fundamental ones. Okay, n factorial fundamental ones obtained by interchanging the particles. If you interchange the particles, you will be getting a new wave function. So there will be n factorial way of interchanging the particles like this. So n factorial such fundamental wave functions are there, and using such n factorial fundamental wave functions, we obtain symmetric and antisymmetric wave functions. How do we get symmetric wave function? By summing all those fundamental wave functions. Okay, see the summation symbol here, we get the symmetric wave function. So just summing them. Okay, as we did here, we just summed the two possible wave functions. Okay, and we got the symmetric wave function. So here by adding n factorial such fundamental wave functions like this, we have the symmetric wave function, which is for the Bose-Einstein particles or for the bosons, and antisymmetric wave function that is obtained by the Slater determinant, 1 by root n factorial, okay, because there are n factorial fundamental ones, psi a1, psi a2, psi an, psi b1, psi b2, psi bn, psi z1, psi z2, psi zn. And if two particles are in the same state, okay, then the corresponding rows, as we seen earlier, if two particles are in the same state, their corresponding rows will be identical. Okay, corresponding rows of the determinant becomes identical and the wave function vanishes. The Pauli exclusion principle. Also, if we interchange any two particles, suppose the first particle in the state B and second particle is in the state A, then there will be, here we will have B, okay, or here we will have B and here A. So, the columns, we will be interchanging the columns. The second particle will come here and first particle will go here. Okay. So there will be interchange of the two columns in the determinant. So this changes the sign of the determinant. Okay, because of this property actually comes from the antisymmetric property of the wave function. So if there is interchange of two particles, there will be interchange of two columns. Okay, there will be interchange of two columns in the determinant, and this changes the sign of the determinant. Then if two particles are in the same state, the corresponding rows will be identical and the wave function vanishes. Now, from this we conclude that if a system is composed of indistinguishable particles which are characterized by antisymmetric wave function, then the particles of the system must be in different single particle states. Okay, which is the Pauli exclusion principle. No two particles can be in the same state, the Pauli's exclusion principle. So the Pauli's exclusion principle directly follows from the antisymmetric property of the wave function. And with regard to the occupation number, since Pauli's exclusion principle is obeyed by fermions, the occupation number, the number of particles that can occupy a given state, is either 0 or 1. But for bosons, there is no such restriction. Any number of particles can occupy a state. So NR for bosons is 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Okay.